So autumn is here and winter is approaching very soon. So let's talk about some banging fragrances that you can wear this season. Yes, people, what is going on YouTube, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name's TJ, and over here on my channel, I discuss all things fragrances and the fragrance industry. So if there's any content, anything at all that you'd like to see, let me know down in the comments. So I think this is like the second year I've done this now, but when we go into different seasons, especially autumn and winter, which is where I feel like my fragrance collection is mostly tailored or suited to, I like to give you guys some recommendations, but in here I'm going to give you some cheaper options, mid-price options, and then some more expensive ones. So let's get into it. And as well, you guys probably watch a bunch of YouTube videos and TikTok videos, and you might see the same fragrances coming up over and over again. So in this video, I feel like I've got a nice curated collection of fragrances that you won't see in everyone's videos. So kicking off the list, let's start with the more cheaper option, and this fragrance is from the house of Giza. If you're going to try and buy this in the UK, just don't. It's going to be way too expensive. And with Beauty World coming up soon, loads of people are going to be heading out to Dubai. So if you know someone going there, try and get them to pick you up this or any fragrance from Giza, because over there they retail for just under £60. In the UK, people are charging £150 upwards. But out of them all, I know a lot of people obviously love Imperial Valley. I love La Luna. But I feel like when we're coming into autumn, saffron is the note or fragrance accord to go for. And saffron in here is done so beautifully. When you think of like a Middle Eastern fragrance, but not heavy on oud, this is what should come to mind. It's got a nice little bit of sweetness in there, nice spiciness, a nice little bit of musk as well, but it's one of those kind of warming fragrances. I honestly love this one, and from the brand, I'm saying this is the best. And like I said, if you're gonna get this for £60 or less, and you're gonna get 10 to 12 hours longevity, great projection, and it's gonna cut through the air, Liquid Gold, number one. Now moving on to number two on the list. This is from my boy Erda Ragnar and his fragrance brand Legion Parfums. So he just released a collection of 3 fragrances. You got Imperial or Imperium, which is a dupe of 199 Lafayette Street, which is nice. Then he's released Aurelius, which is a dupe of Arabian Stonka by Montal. But this one here, Caesar, this is a dupe of Dior's Rouge Trafalgar, but their new X-Straight one to the E-Spirit line. And typically, I know people would say that fruitier, lighter fragrances would go better in spring and summer, and I do agree, but this has that kind of quality to it where you could definitely wear it all year round. It's got a nice little bit of sweetness in there, a bunch of berries in there, but I feel like the rose and the musk in here is just spiky enough and holds its weight enough in the scent for you to be able to wear it in the cooler months. And you know when people describe fragrances as being aquatic or zonic or a little bit oceanic, this has that vibe, but I would explain it differently. So imagine you've got a glass of sparkling water and then you drop in berries, cherries, black currants, all of that stuff, leave it for a bit, put some ice in there and drink it. This has that kind of fizzy, sparkling, watery vibe. And I think this is up there with one of Ragnar's best releases. Now the last one in the cheap category, these are from DXB Perfumes, but I'm gonna let you pick. There's one out of them that I don't really like, and it's called Twilight. There's just something a little bit too sharp and spiky in that. So I'm gonna leave that to the side. But we've got these two here. So the first one is called Fleur Crush. And I like what they've done with the bottle, man. It's just simple, elegant, and classy. And this other one here, which is called The Ocean. Now, I know this one you would probably think is a more summer fragrance, but what I like to do when I get 3 fragrances or more from the same brand, I'll spray them on test strips and then just leave them in the room. And after like 2 hours, I'll go in there and see which one I can smell the best or smell the loudest, which tells me which is the most powerful or strongest scent. This one, The Ocean, is super strong. And I know for a fact this is a dupe of Mega Mare by Auto Parisi. And you wouldn't really say that's one you could wear in autumn and winter, but I think you can. Because of that salty sharpness you get in that, I think you can definitely wear this one in the winter. But if I was gonna go with one for my personal wear, and what I like the best is this one called Fleur Crush, because it goes more in that soft, ambery, benzoin kind of direction, much smoother. You get some vanilla in there, and there's a nice little bit of sweet fruitiness at the top. So yeah, I don't want you guys to blind buy anything, but if you're gonna order these online, you can use my code TJ15 for 15% off. But just go down to the DXB kiosk and try these fragrances. But I would have to say, still till now, my number one from DXB Perfumes and what I'd recommend all year round and autumn and winter would have to be Essence of Casablanca by Swiss Arabian, and probably right now, Tobacco 01. Now that's the cheaper fragrances out of the way. Let's move on to the mid-price range. So these are gonna go up to a maximum of like 140, 150. Let's start off with a designer, and I'm a fan of this. I've spoken about this a lot on my TikTok. This is from Givenchy to their Gentleman line. This is Gentleman Society. I think it's Ambre something, and it's an ambery and tobacco fragrance. Obviously, you get the typical Givenchy DNA, which is that powdery iris with some woods in there. And this is no different, but you just got more spices, more woods. Oh, this one actually smells super like classy, refined. And when you think of Givenchy gentleman, you think gentleman, so dressed up, maybe a tuxedo, just how the bottle kind of looks. That's what I picture in my head. And this for me is a great designer release that came out this year. Next, we've got a similar bottle, similar kind of feel. Let me wipe that quickly. This one here is from Pierre Guillaume, and this is called Liqueur Chanel. And I've banged on about this one. I'm gonna go on skin because I love this. I've banged on about this one for the last year. So if you see my older videos, you would have seen this. I love Angel Share. I love a boozy fragrance, but I also love a smoky fragrance. And I feel like this is the best of both worlds. You get cognac, you get dried fruits, you get apricot, but you get incense, you get leather, you get some smoke in there. This is, I'm gonna say, for the older crowd. So if you're a little bit more mature, you like something a little bit darker, not as sweet and childish, I think Liqueur Chanel is a great fragrance to get. And I know in Bloom, I think this is about £160, but I looked yesterday and there's a website called 50ml that I've ordered from before. I ordered one of my Stephanie Humbert Lucas's See My Love from there, and it came within like 3-4 days. You can get this full bottle on there for, I'm pretty sure it was 96 or 98 pounds. I have to double check, but under 100 quid, absolute bargain. I don't know why this one's on the floor, but the last one, an absolute gem. This is my second bottle. I rarely rebuy fragrances for myself. I rebuy them to Decant on my website, tjtalksense.com, but I never really rebuy for myself. And this is one that I don't decant. This is from Naomi Goodsir, and this is called Eau de Soleil. And Naomi Goodsir is a great brand. They've only got about 6 or 7 fragrances, but all of them are banging. I think my next pickup from them is gonna be Nuit de Bakelite, because that one is super strong, but in my opinion, this is number 1. And I have to say, I'm not a massive fan of honey when it comes to fragrances. I don't know why, they just don't go with me. I think Pure Havana traumatized me. But in here, you've got honey, but this is a honey tobacco fragrance. And I would tell everyone, if you're gonna go out and buy a Xerjoff Naxos, because you've seen it spoken about online, don't. This smells better, smells more unique, lasts longer, and is way cheaper. This, again, is super bold, a little bit smoky, but the honey in there is not that kind of childish synthetic honey. It's more of like just real honey. And again, like Liqueur Chanel, where it's got a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of booze in there, whereas this one goes in a darker direction, this one goes in a sweeter and maybe a little bit more floral DNA. So if you like something like Tom Ford Black Orchid Parfum, that is the kind of direction this goes in, but with honey added. I think these 3 are absolutely beautiful, and these are ones that I'm going to be reaching for the most this autumn. Now let's move these ones out of the way and let's move on to the expensive range. Which is the cheapest? I think it's this one. This is from Dorsey, and this one here is called Flower Lust. Again, Dorsey is a brand that I've only stumbled across this year, and they got a couple of banging releases coming out. I should be going to one of their events in Paris very soon. Oh man, it's so hard to describe this in terms of the scent profile or accords. Whenever I talk about this one, I just picture a scarf, cashmere scarf, nice jumper, a little button-up cardigan for the ladies. And it's just like, bro, when I was in school, I used to wear this like Eskimo hat, yeah? And I used to go over my ears and I could clip it up here. Don't ask me why, but this is the feeling it gives, just warm, cozy. Yeah, bro, that's all I can say. And I know us as men, we don't really like to go for those floral fragrances, but in my opinion, this is one of the best out there. If you're looking for a nice floral scent, Flower Lust is one. If you're looking for a tuberose fragrance, and probably the best in my collection, it is not Jeroboam Gozo, it's actually Purple Night by Le Bain Gabois. Up next, what should we go for? Let's go for this one here, because this is gonna be a fan favorite without a doubt. This is from Nishané, and it's called Udus Lux Solis. Yeah, Udus Lux Solis. And I've kind of described this fragrance as being similar to what people love in terms of Ingenious Ginger, Suspiro Vibrato, Bulgari Tiger. And I feel like Nishané clocked on because they didn't release a fragrance for time, but I feel like they was researching and studying the market, because now they've dropped they're dropping 5 or 6 fragrances in a row. So you get the ginger in there, really prominent in an opening, super fresh, zingy and light. But then as it dries down, the oud comes through. And one day I was testing it a couple weeks ago, my missus came in and she was like, I can smell something proper strong. I had sprayed like Amouage Outlands and all that. And I'm thinking like, yes, Outlands or it's an oud fragrance. And she's like, no, it's not that. Then she smelt this table when she put her bag down. She's like, it's on here. And I smelled it and I was like, bruv, that's Udus Lux Solis, which I sprayed a couple of days ago. So longevity projection is great. And don't judge it off the first like 1 or 2 minutes because it just smells super fresh. And I know from experience, as this dries down dark, the oud is in there, but it's not animalic and it's not overpowering. It's literally the perfect balance. And the more people that get their nose on this, this is probably a fragrance that's gonna go viral. You two can come over to the side. And the last fragrance on this list when it comes to expensive fragrances is this one here. Now, loads of people out there think that all these influencers, including myself, are getting paid to promote Amouage Outlands because that's all everybody's talking about right now. And that's just what happens. When someone starts talking about it, the rest of the influencers wanna try it, and then within a week or two, it's all over the feed. This autumn, I'm gonna go for this one because I think it suits a little bit more. This is Amouage Luster. Now, the perfumer behind this one here is one that I met while I was in Dubai a couple months ago. It is Julian Rasquinet, and I'm pretty sure Guerlain made or had a hand in this one as well. I think there was 2 perfumers on this. It still has that kind of same menthol medicinal feel that Outlands has, which a lot of people like for that, but this is obviously a more ambery based perfume, benzoin, probably labdanum, but it has this kind of nutty smokiness in there, which I like. And if I was to kind of describe it to any fragrance in my collection that is an amber based perfume, I'm gonna say Grand Soir because Grand Soir also has that medicinal feel to it. This is a really nice fragrance, and I feel like Outlands right now is just overshadowing this one a little bit. So I feel like people need to get their nose on this one and kind of enjoy this one for what it is. And I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to autumn and winter, that's when my head just goes, yeah, let's go ambery. Ambery, warm, not too sweet and overpowering, but just vanilla, amber, benzoin, tonka. That is the bag. So I think Luster's fantastic for that, but all 3 of these expensive ones are very different. So you can try this one in Les Scienteurs and in Liberty. You can try this one only in Harrods, and I believe this one in Harrods and Selfridges. So get your nose on these. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, man, I didn't want to make the video too long, and the reason I've done it like this is because a lot of people watch my videos on TikTok, and I speak about more niche, expensive fragrances, whereas some people want to know about cheaper ones. So if you like the kind of layup and setup of this video in terms of 3 cheap ones, mid-priced and expensive ones, let me know and I'll continue to do more like that. So my channel is kind of inclusive to everybody, no matter the price or what people can afford or are willing to even spend on fragrances. Because them ones I showed you at the end, they range from like 160 to 350, which is kind of unreasonable. The mid-priced ones are cool. The cheaper ones are probably more suited to everyone. So out of these, let me know what you think and drop down in the comments what you're going to be rocking this winter. I'll catch you in the next video. Love for the love.